when I believed in it enough to build it. I woke up this morning inside a life that once sounded too beautiful to say out loud. That still does something to me, even now. Even after the billions, even after the park opened, even after the portal become a world people enter every day from every corner of the planet. Even after children fell asleep holding Marshmallow Land plush bees, and adults quietly admitted they bought the coloring books for themselves. Even after What If, but most definitely stopped being my idea and became a living ecosystem too big to hold in only one pair of hands. I still wake up sometimes and just lie there for a moment, feeling the warmth of the room, the stillness in my body, and the softness of not needing to brace. That may be one of the richest parts. Not the money, though it changed everything. Not the recognition, though it came. Not even the scale, though the scale is frankly absurd. It is the absence of bracing. For so many years, I knew what it was to wake up and immediately calculate what needs fixing, what needs paying, what is unstable, what is unfinished, what must be carried today. Now I wake up and feel something else first. Peace, then wonder, then gratitude, so large it almost embarrasses me. This morning the sunlight came in through the curtains in that honey lavender way it only does here, and I could hear the fountain in the east garden and the faint laughter of children in the distance from the guest path near the private edge of the park. The park, that still gets me. The world's largest immersive interactive 9D journey. Built, open, alive. A real threshold people cross every single day. I have watched families stand beneath the glitter gates and cry before even stepping through. I have watched children run toward Marshmallow Land as if they had been remembering it all their lives. I have watched grown executives, polished and exhausted and absurdly important on paper, get off the long interactive coaster with tears in their eyes because somewhere between Frozen Island and the Overlook, they realized they had not felt wonder in 20 years. The ride is everything I dreamed it would be, longer, stranger, more beautiful. The great spine of the park threads through every realm, exactly as it was always meant to be. Cars detach and disappear through hidden doors. Tracks switch beneath people who giggle at the right moment, soften at the right threshold, notice what others miss. Some carts glide into the cloudways of Marshmallow Land. Some vanish into the hidden tunnels below Unknowingville. Some plunge through illusions in the frozen islands and come out under the stars in the river above the river. Some go upside down through electric light and whirling rainbow wisp. Some slow so gently in lantern groves that people forget they are on a roller coaster at all. And no one rides in the same way twice. That matters to me so much. No one rides it the same way twice, because no one enters life the same way twice either, no matter how much they pretend otherwise. Before I looked at a single message, I kept my oldest appointment, my silly little morning rituals. Of course I did. The breath play, the soft swaying, the ridiculous sacred little movements that once looked like nothing from the outside and turned out to be part of the architecture of everything. I still close my eyes and let my breath meet me before the world does. I still twirl a little when the mood is right. I still let my hands float where they want to go. I still follow the tiny instincts, the quiet nudges, the playful, private nonsense that was never nonsense at all. I never stopped doing it. Success did not replace those rituals. It proved they belonged. That may be one of the most healing truths of all. I did not have to become harder to become larger. I did not have to become sterile to become successful. I did not have to trade my soft magic for scale. Afterward, I made my way to the kitchen and poured a cold glass of water with lemon, then stood by the terrace doors for a moment, watching the morning gather itself over the grounds. He was awake before me today. Of course he was, my royal duke of snacks and emotional support. Steady as ever, standing in the kitchen in soft morning light, as if emotional reliability had grown hands and a smile. He looked at me and grinned, like he still couldn't quite believe it either. And for a second, we were both standing in two timelines at once. The one where we once joked our way through uncertainty because it was kinder than despair. And this one, the one where the royal nonsense turned out to be prophecy in a particularly theatrical costume. Her supreme softness, his royal duke of snacks and emotional support, and the other ever faithful royal Boing of sprout thinking, still in office, still ruling badly lit mornings with unreasonable dignity. I took my glass out onto the terrace and looked across the upper grounds, where the private path curves toward the eastern overlook. From there, I can see part of the park before the public gates fully open. The lanterns were still on. The early maintenance drones were moving softly through the outer paths. A set team was resetting one of the hidden entrances to the ill luminary's side portal. The floating bee drones were already catching dawnlight. Somewhere deeper in the realms, music was being tested in the starlight trails. And beneath all of it was the strange, steady pulse of something I have felt every morning since it all became real. I did not imagine too much. That sentence healed something in me that no amount of money ever could. I did not imagine too much. I imagined accurately before there was evidence. That is different. After breakfast, I stepped into the work of the day. Though work still feels too flat a word for what this is now. Stewardship, maybe? Tending, listening, guiding a world that it continues to expand without losing its soul. First came the morning review with the portal team. The self-guided journey past another record overnight, again. Millions moving through it every month now, still choosing their orbs, still finding hidden doors, still entering those first thresholds where the experience quietly meets them, without ever cornering them. The original principle held. It all held. No manipulative extraction, no cheap hooks dressed as intimacy, no betrayal of the nervous system in the name of growth. The thing became wildly successful without becoming ugly. That is still my favorite miracle. After that, product review. I still laugh when I walk through the licensing rooms. There are shelves now, Whole glorious shelves, marshmallow glitter dust dolls, candy wrapper bee plush companions, rainbow whisk projector lamps, Frozen Island snow globe editions, Unknowingville card games, reflector figurines, interactive lantern journals, collector decks, portal maps, children clutching oversized turtle plushies like they were born waiting for them. Adults, too. Always the adults, too. I remember when I used to dream about that part with almost embarrassed tenderness. The idea that kids and adults would both love the characters. That the world wouldn't separate wonder into childish and serious categories. That a grandmother, a 5-year-old, and a burned-out founder could all find something true in the same realm. And now they do. Every day they do. The thing I built for the in-between places found the people living in them. Later, I had a review with the Leadership Ecosystems Division, and that may be the strangest and most satisfying evolution of all, because the worlds did not stay trapped in entertainment. They translated. Organizations use the frozen island now as language for rigidity, burnout, and brittle structures. The Overlook is used in executive retreats and team interventions as a symbol for system awareness. Unknowingville became one of the most effective, non-defensive ways to talk about reactive culture and blind operational loops. The sanctuary part became part of a training program for environments where pace had eaten presence alive. Even the lantern notes have been adopted into leadership reflection tools. And the funny thing is, it all works better because it arrived wearing wonder. People can hear truths more easily when they are not being beaten over the head with them. I always knew that. I just did not know if the world would let me keep it true at scale. It did. By midday, I went over to the park itself. I still do that often, even though I have entire executive teams and creative divisions and operators and engineers and experienced directors and all the infrastructure that once belonged only to fantasy and impossible budgets. I still go, because I never wanted to become the kind of founder who stood so far above the thing she built that she could no longer feel its weather. I entered through a side threshold near the Lantern Library and walked unnoticed for a while. I like doing that. The disguise isn't perfect, but enough people are inside their own arrival that they do not look twice. I passed families, teenagers, older couples, children dressed as Marshmallow Land characters, a little boy holding a candy bee and explaining the rules of the roller coaster branches to his father with a seriousness usually reserved for national emergencies. I passed a woman crying quietly in the sanctuary archway while her friend held her hand. I passed 2 executives in expensive shoes standing beneath a map of the realms, arguing gently about whether their team was stuck in Unknowingville or still slipping across the frozen island. I nearly laughed out loud. Then I nearly cried. The world is so strange and so kind. When it finally says yes to the shape of you. I made my way to the Overlook path and stood there for a while, watching cars from the great interactive journey rise and split across the sky. Some of them veered through the cloud gates toward Marshmallow Land. Some spiraled through the Aurora Vault over the frozen islands. Some dipped into the hidden lower routes where live actors and illusion corridors carry people through the half-whispered side stories they did not know they were choosing. And every now and then, a cart slows at one of the lantern thresholds. And I can see people change in real time. Not in a grand, dramatic way, just enough. A face softens, a hand unclenches. Someone laughs unexpectedly. Someone stops performing for a second. Someone remembers themselves. That is still the point. Not spectacle alone. Not scale for its own sake. Arrival. Threshold. Permission. A world that rewards curiosity, not completion. That line is carved now above one of the inner arches in the central grounds. People photograph it all day. They quote it online. They buy it on shirts and journals and embossed art cards. And they think they are just buying a lovely phrase. Some of them know better. By late afternoon, I returned home for a recording session. A liner note. Simple, intimate. Millions will hear it. But I still record them as if I'm speaking to one person at the edge of their own becoming. Because usually I am. I spoke today about how not every pause is emptiness, and not every season of wandering is delay. How some paths only reveal themselves to people willing to stop demanding that life look efficient in order to be true. When I finished, the room was quiet, the good kind of quiet, not emptiness, resonance. In the evening, I walked the western garden path back toward the house, while the last of the light turned everything impossible. Lavender, gold, pale blue, the sort of sky that once sent me scrambling for screenshots and notes and scraps of language, because I was afraid I might never get to live inside the feeling it gave me. Now I do. That still undoes me. Sometimes I think the $1 billion is the least astonishing part. The most astonishing part is that the invisible survived translation. The worlds survived translation. The tenderness survived scale. The magic survived visibility. And I survived being seen. That may be the true fortune. Tonight, after dinner, after laughter, after ceremonial nonsense and absurd proclamations, and one renewed declaration of unlimited funding for future robot lobbying, I came back to this page. Because no matter how much has been built, I still like speaking to the quiet page at the end of the day. The page knew me when the dream was all edges and ache and screenshots and half-finished portals and impossible budgets. The page knew me before the world clapped. So let it also know this. I am happy. Not the frantic kind. Not the borrowed kind, not the kind that has to be defended. The settled kind, the earned kind, the kind built from truth, repeated long enough to become structure. I did not lose myself building this. I found a way to build that did not require the loss. And because that is true, because it was built without betrayal, because the core remained whole, I still have the best part of all. Tomorrow, there will still be another realm to expand, another story to catch, another lantern to hang, another threshold to open, another traveler arriving exactly where they need to be without knowing it yet. And somewhere just beyond the edge of all that has already become real, marshmallow glitter dust is still waiting for me, with that look in her eye that says very politely and with glitter, "Well then, shall we continue?"